and after this created, you can list there is no entry, fill or add a new one by pressing an insert. And if you create SQL queries in PHP, you should use an sprintf function to create it, and after filling %s means you should put a string. Now between these two brackets you see if the error message is empty, that means there is no error with the form after posting the form. Now I build that sprintf and add the 3 parameters. This is a basic technique how you create SQL queries. Now I add the 3 variables, and these variables will included and or replaced with the %s. So you should build the 3 variables. Now the date won't be created, but used MySQL now function to add the correct time. And you need to connect to a MySQL database using the 2 function, and you need to have a localhost or a host, a username, password, and a database. I use this Ajax updater generator to get the connection. I'm just copy and paste it. It has 2 things to do. The first is connect to the database. The second part will select the database, and the third creates a set name which will set the collocation of these queries. The text coding should set with these set names, in this case UTF-8, the character coding. And I replaced the DB host, username, password, and the database name. Here it is. I've created the SQL query. If you send the form and there is no error with the fields, I use a function MySQL real escape string to protect your database from the harmful injections, MySQL injections, and I use the array underscore map to run a function. The whole indexes of the posted variables on arrays. It's useful. Now I fill the form, and in this case I'm just print the SQL query if everything fine. Alright, the nick is longer than 20 characters. That's okay. Image activation is wrong, and you can test all of the functions working. If the comment is longer than 500 characters, command is longer than blah 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 characters, you see. If you go to the text area function, you can change the design of this text area to set another property. If everything is fine, the SQL query created. Now I copy and paste into php-myadmin to test it. Run SQL, paste it, and see there is a new row inserted. Its ID is 2. You see the ID is a primary key, which is important to identify your rows in the table. Now I empty the table and run the query. Go to the editor. If I use a not valid email address, that will cause an error message, but in a server script in PHP, not in JavaScript. You should use these two validations, JavaScript and PHP. If you missed one, it can be a security hole in your programs. Just for to test, I add JavaScript into the command to test what is inserted into this table. Now I run the SQL query with mysql_query and use the troubleshooting. If there is an error, that will die and stop the program running. You can print the SQL query with this die. It's similar with the print, but in that case the program interrupted. If everything is fine, there is no message printed. And it's okay. Now if it's inserted, let's print something, for example the command successfully inserted or something similar. This program is good because if you refresh that page, the activation code has changed and the inserted command won't be cause a duplication or triplication. Means it's very important to build forms which insert entries into a table to protect with the page refreshes. Okay, now this is it. If you look into the table, you will see how the entry is inserted, and create another part to list these commands. You can see how the SQL script created. Select everything from comments and use an order on a datetime table, a datetime field, and we will use a limit which will just select the first 30 entries, and if it's something problem with this query, you should print or use the error reporting the MySQL underscore